We do not have a quorum yet, but we have a very important agenda today. So let's figure out how to start the meeting, and then if we do get a quorum, we can get into the action items. So I'll go ahead and bring this meeting, open this meeting. Welcome to the November 2nd Reparations Committee meeting. We don't have a quorum, but we will continue on with non-action items. Wonderful. So no quorum needed, that's right. We are going to go ahead and start with Councilwoman Harris. If you could read our ancestry acknowledgement. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. With great humility and deep gratitude, we honor the strength, endurance, and sacrifice of our Black ancestors. We honor those enslaved African people whose forced labor was exploited for generations to help establish the economy of our region and the United States. We honor those Black ancestors who persevered despite the discriminatory laws and practices that created a racial caste system, legitimized anti-Black racism, and continue to plague our community today. It is only by recognition and understanding of these errors begun during our nation's origins and continuing today that we can hope to correct our path. We acknowledge this exploitation of not only minds and labor, but of our humanity. We grieve for those Black ancestors who, despite their contribution to this city's wealth and freedom, were never recognized, fairly compensated, nor allowed to fully realize their own sovereignty. Because of this work, we are here and will invest in the descendants of that legacy. And through this process, we work to repair some of the harms caused by the city of Evanston. We also hope our focused attempts at reparation will serve as an example to the United States government and prompt other institutional accomplices to begin to repair the process of repair.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, we are going to move past the approval of our minutes. We're going to go to 3, which is public comment. This is a listening session. This is something that we're doing quarterly so that we can continue being informed. Glad to see all of you in person and those that are joining us virtually. I'm going to open it up with our own Mayor Daniel Biss. Mayor Daniel Biss has his own personal relationship, he and his family, with reparations, and it has been requested from the community mayor that you come and share. It is a very important story that I think speaks to your unwavering support of the work and your commitment to its success. So thank you for being here, Mayor. Do we have a mic at that point?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, for the invitation, to the community for your interest in this. And I do want to really thank the committee and the community for partnering in this extraordinarily important work. We're really lucky to have this level of attention and thought and care and focus on this issue, which is so critical in so many ways. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I apologize to those who've heard me talk about this before. I don't talk about it too often, but I do with some regularity in the context of our own reparations initiatives. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was a recipient of reparations. My mother's parents were born in a town in Transylvania. My grandmother was born in 1922. My grandfather was born a few years before that. And so when World War II broke out, they were, very young adults. Eventually, in 1944, there was a deportation from that part of the world to Auschwitz. And so the Jews were rounded up, put on a train, taken to Auschwitz. And for those of you who know something about that history, the survival rate for everybody except for very young adults was essentially zero. Their generation was put to work and so had some shot of survival. So all four of their parents were killed instantly, and they and some of their siblings were fortunate enough to survive. And when the camp was liberated, a little bit less than a year later, they eventually made their way back home. Eventually married. As an aside, just as an indication of what the circumstances were like, my grandparents, who knew each other growing up, they weren't they weren't romantically involved before the war. In fact, my grandmother was engaged to somebody else who also survived, but he made it back home first and assumed she hadn't survived and married somebody else. It's a kind of chilling story, but stories like that happen all the time then. So my grandparents were married. My mother was born in 1946, and in 1948 they all emigrated to Israel, where my grandmother grew up. And a few decades later, when the German government was trying to reckon with the crimes that they had committed, they instituted a reparations program. And when I talk with my mother about this now, and we talk about it a lot more now than we ever did before, thanks to the work that y'all are doing here in Evanston, which has prompted me to ask her some questions that I think for a long time she didn't really want to think about. She talks about how when she was a teenager and this was getting discussed in their house, her parents reacted really, really, really differently to the letters that started coming from the German government. My grandfather, her father, just said, I'm not going to take their money so they can stop feeling guilty. I'm not going to tell them it's okay. I'm not going to get my parents back by cashing this check. They can keep their money and they can continue remembering what they did. And my grandmother said, you want to give me the money, I'll cash the check. I appreciate that they recognize they did something wrong. If they think that this means we're even, they've lost their minds. If they think this means that I forgive them, they've lost their minds. If they think that a check means more than my parents never seeing their grandchildren, they've lost their minds. But it means something to me that they're being so clear and direct and unambiguous about the fact that they know they did wrong, and they know that means they have a responsibility to try to make it right. And I think those are both totally legitimate reactions, and I think there's probably a lot of each of those reactions in this community and in any community that deals with real truth and reconciliation processes and an effort to repair harm that's been committed. And so I carry those stories with me as I partner with the committee and the council and the community on this reparations work, understanding that financial repair by itself is not going to make everything right for anyone. And it may not feel like the right way to move forward at all for some individuals, and that's their right. It's their choice, it's their narrative, it's their harm. What we can try to do is to do our best to honor the members of our community who were harmed, to be brutally honest with ourselves and our whole community about what we did to create that harm, and to, with integrity and good faith, do our best now to do what we can to repair as much of that as possible. And so I just want to thank you again, both the community, those here today, those on Zoom, and those across Evanston who have been so engaged in this process for years now, and the committee for being such a key leader in this work. And thank you particularly, Councilmember Ruth Simmons for your leadership on this.
Thank you. And Mayor, we don't, of course, have comment, or excuse me, question or comment at public comment. But will you honor us if there are just a couple questions from the
course.
community?
Of course.
Any questions from the community?
What about statements?
Statements? Yes.
First, I want to say I think you're doing it. No, I don't need the mic. I don't need the mic. I don't need
They
it.
need the mic. Okay, yeah, they need the mic.
I want to say I'm very proud of you as the mayor of this. My grandfather was the last person with horses, ducks, and chickens here. I remember when this was, that was until 1963, so I have generations. Her great-grandmother and my grandmother were sisters. And I remember when this was Mary Wood School. I loved how you unfolded that story. Because I remember when I was in high school, there was something going on between what they called the WASPs and the Jews. And it had to do with the dating thing. That's all I remember about that. So when I found out that you had been awarded reparations, I was so happy to see that plug into our situation here. I want to just also say, though, that when South Africa became free, Bishop Tutu created that Truth and Reconciliation because to keep that eye for an eye and a tooth for tooth going was going to be a disaster. So he managed the peace. So we have our little small differences, but I'm so proud of you being our representative. I know we got a city manager, but I'm proud of you and I'm proud of Evans and Morris and all. And I come over here from the country in Michigan to be at these meetings because this is phenomenal. And I'm proud of what you all do.
Thank you.
Me too. I agree.
We have time for Ms. Payton. Good morning. Thank you, Robin, for honoring my request for the mayor. So I wanted to know, do you know how many people received reparations? And do they continue to receive reparations? And how long did they receive the reparations?
So I do want to, it was really completely true what I said. This was not a topic we talked about in our family much. And I've talked to my mother about this 10 times as often since I became mayor as the whole rest of my life. And quite frankly, my grandfather really was adamant while he was alive about we don't talk about the past, we move forward. And so I don't know as much as I wish I did. My understanding, and this is all public, I'm happy to look into this and get back to you because I would like to learn for my own sake. I probably ought to know, frankly. My understanding is that the survivors themselves, who are, they're almost all gone at this point, but that they received reparations throughout their lives. None of it went on to their descendants. My mother never got a check, I never got a check, I never asked for one. It was a different situation than we're talking about here. But my understanding is that the reparations were sort of ongoing during the lives of individuals who themselves were survivors of concentration camps, I believe. And don't quote me on that, but I'll do some research and next time we talk I'll know more.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Payton, for the suggestion. We're going to move on to our do you want to move that ahead? Because we have, you want to put it in public comment? Okay, we can. I didn't see Hitesh, actually. I saw him come and go. Is he? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't met you. Please do. Yep. Mhm.
My name's Clayton Black. I'm the city's budget manager. Hitesh was unfortunately unable to be here at this hour. He had a pension board meeting he needed to go to. But I understand that the reparations committee is looking into moving the fund balance the reparations fund into a black-owned bank institution. I think the city's definitely open to exploring that to the extent possible. Our financial policies require that, that whatever bank we go with promises a 105% collateral against our deposit. We currently get 5.5% interest on our checking account, so the reparations fund, if it ends the year with a balance of $3 million, for example, our bank is deposited right now with Byline Bank, getting about 5.5% interest, so that's about $165,000 a year in interest through our current banking institution. But we're totally open. We have financial policies in place that we would just want to meet with the bank and talk about what they can guarantee us and if it's similar to what our financial policies require. So we're open to hearing from the committee if there's ideas for banks that you'd like us to work with or talk to. Unfortunately, I can't share too much more than that without our CFO here, but we're totally open to hearing what the ideas are and bringing that back.
So that's great. So it looks like there's a path forward. And Liberty Bank is one bank that has come up. It's the nation's largest black-owned bank. They do have a branch in Chicago, I think, on the south side. Of course, and unfortunately, there aren't any black banks in Evanston, but I would offer that as a first recommendation. They also, early in our reparations work, created some programs for reparation applicants, which includes 100% approval rate on predatory loans. So that would be like title loans and payday loans, that type of thing. They offered some special credit card options, reparative modeled mortgage loans as well. So they showed an early commitment to our work. I don't know what their rates are and that sort of thing, but if you could look into that bank for sure. And I would say any others, like we do everything else, maybe get 3 and look at what their offers could be to partner with us, because it is a special opportunity for them to hold the fund. And that would be my direction. Is there any further direction from the committee?
That's a good idea. 3 options to look at.
If anybody has any other ideas, we'll definitely follow up with Liberty Bank. They have a branch in the south side, you said, so we will, south side Chicago, so we will follow up with them. How important is the interest rate? So the important thing to us is that collateral against the deposit. It helps secure our money, public money. There's a lot of requirements for making sure that our money's safe whenever we deposit it. We're currently pretty diversified. We have money at Wintrust, Byline, and a couple other banking institutions too. So that collateral against the deposit's important. The interest rate, less important to us, although it's great to make good interest income. But how important is that to the community?
I would say that it's very important the money is safe and growing. And we would expect our finance department to have all protections for the reparations fund, as we do with all other funds.
Okay.
I can't speak about rates and that sort of thing, but I would ask that you bring back the best options for us and multiple options for us. Any further?
Yes. Do credit unions count in that same way?
I believe so, but I will check with our CFO and see if that's an option. Do you have an idea of one?
Trinity United Church of Christ has their own credit union.
Is that local? That's
Chicago, 95th.
Okay.
Sounds like an exciting option.
Yeah,
If that would work.
I was baptized there.
Trinity
And actually,
United
Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated has a credit union, the first Black Greek organization that had a credit union.
Can you share that name one more time?
Phi Beta Sigma, and I can get you the information.
And also Alpha Kappa Alpha.
But yes, sure.
Okay.
And we'll make the introduction to the president at Liberty also.
Okay. Yeah, please do. That would be great.
Anything further from the committee on that? Thank you for being here.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll
So
get you the information.
that pulled us forward to communication. So that was actually 5B for anybody that's looking at the agenda. So back to public comment. Oh, okay. Okay. So this is public comment. Thank you for being here. We have 2 minutes for public comment.
Okay, I'm gonna try my best.
Okay.
The first thing I want to share, because I think our identity, one of the things that allows us to be dehumanized is a lack of knowledge about who we are as an African people. One of the first things that they do has been done is to undermine the contributions of the Africans. In that vein, I just want to put this out here. I have a very good friend who retired from the World Bank, and his brother is the governor of Timbuktu. I'm putting that out there so that if anyone here can find a way to fit that into our situation, he's willing to acquiesce, okay? The other thing I want to comment on is back at the last listing meeting is when I had suggested that we have a unity to do something to unify our community, because I was very upset about all of the upset in the black community, not disregarding the white community, but in the black community, and I wanted to do what I could to help bring us back together. Their first suggestion was to bring Cam Howard's Unity Tour here. I was in attendance at that meeting last week, that what they called an epistemic reparations meeting, which to me was a slap in the face to the everyday folk, because epistemic means scientific knowledge as opposed to practical knowledge. How dare you? You know, that's the way I feel about it. I got a very bad vibe from her. She made a statement, there was a statement made bringing us up to speed. Bringing us up to speed, you mean you didn't meet all by yourself all along? And now you're trying, just the week before the listening meeting, you're gonna bring us in and have a meeting? And so, anyway, because I don't wanna get off, I'll be rambling. Let me look at my notes. The statement was made, we lost G-Lo. And and then also bringing up to speed, which let me know they had been meeting all along, but it just hadn't been open to everybody else. And then
We need you to wrap up the comment.
this is the most anti-people committee. That woman, and I talked to Dolores Holmes last week after the meeting, and I called her this morning. She's an anti-people person, and I was hoping she was here so I could look her in the face and let her know how I feel about this. This is not what I don't believe this is what you envisioned. What she talked about had nothing to do with unifying our community, and I don't really think she cares about that. She's got her own agenda.
Let's talk offline more about this, please.
Well,
So-
I just want to bring it out, but they've been sneaking around.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And then next, we will definitely follow up on that. Next, we have, this is the end person, or is this the online?
Oh, and Cam Howard said they never contacted them one time after I dropped out. That was your specific request.
Perfect, okay.
Ms. Craig?
So, yes, Ms. Payton? I'm sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would first, we cannot hear you. Is it on? Is it on?
It's not working, thank you.
You need it muted, you know.
Hello? Okay.
First, I would like to say thank you to Robin for having the mayor and also acknowledging the Black Bank. That's very important. Part of the work that you do for reparations is for the people, should be by the people. I also want to say briefly that I hope that moving forward, that this committee and the city of Evanston will not just pay a check, and just what the mayor said, a check will not repair the harm that is done to the people. But you can stop the behavior that continues to be discriminatory in this city. So I would hope that people do not just say that this is a check for you and continue to discriminate. So we need to support the people and have a venue and an outlet for people that are being discriminated against continuously in our city, and have the support from this committee. My last thing. When I was born, I was black. When I grew up, I was black. When I go in the sun, I am black. When I'm scared, I'm black. When I'm sick, I am black. And when I die, I'll still be black. And you white fellow, when you were born, you were pink. When you grow up, you are white. When you go in the sun, you are red. When you are cold, you are blue. When you are scared, you are yellow. When you are sick, you are green. And when you die, you are gray. And you call me colored. Thank you.
And next we have Birch.
Oh, no,
Sorry, I can't read this last name.
that's okay.
Okay,
I
yeah.
didn't have anything to say.
Okay, all right. And then we have Kamora Chase.
I just wanted to say that I'm a senior. And in the senior community in Evanston that I participate usually at the Levy Center is very confused about what you're doing and what's going on. And all of us have a number. And we don't understand the distribution by number that we have. So I just want to say there's a lot of confusion. And that if you could be a little more transparent or a little more deconfusing for the community, it would be helpful.
Thank you for your comment. The first way to address the confusion is be here at the meetings and get the information firsthand. What I recommend, and I'd be willing to do as when my schedule allows, is go to the Levy Center. And if you are meeting, I know the Foster Senior Club meets and we have great rapport with them and they've summoned us if they want more information. So if you want to convene a meeting for the participants at the Levy Center, I'm sure others on the committee would be willing to come and share information there as well.
I'm sorry, if you could introduce yourself, and I would like to say, I will give you my number. I would love to talk to you, as I am willing to talk to any ancestor or Evastonian, no, her, you know, to give you more information, because there are a lot of questions, and it is sometimes helpful to have someone directly to talk to answer the question. So, what is your name? Okay, thank you.
Is that something you'd be willing to do? Talk to the Levy Center participants, or should we reach out? Because we could do the work too.
The problem is now, ever since COVID, people aren't necessarily meeting there.
Okay.
They're meeting other places and talking about it individually.
What we could do is, I bet the Levy Center has a listserv or some phone tree or something like that. We could send out direct communication to the Levy Center listserv and also put postings at the Levy Center. I think we recently talked about beginning to do that at community centers. So thank you for letting us know that, and we definitely will follow up on that. Make the
Whatever
meeting, yeah. We'll have a meeting in person at Levy and have it hybrid. Yes. Perfect, thank you for that. Next we have Miss Lynn Armstrong. Oh, yeah, there you are, Auntie Lynn. I'm like, where is Auntie Lynn? You're okay? Okay. And then last on our sign-up list in person, we have Virginia Garrison. Yes, hi, Miss Garrison.
Good morning to everyone. I'd like to say that I am somewhat proud of the situation with everybody getting together and Robin presenting this for us here in Evanston. My real issue here was when I went to sign up, my mother, who was an ancestor, who was still living, who was 90 years old. When I went to sign up for the reparations for her, I was told that I couldn't do it because I did not have an ID for her. So I signed myself up. And I've been asking since then, why can't you give my mother my number? Because I was there for my mother. She deserves it, I feel, more than I do. But everybody keeps telling me, oh, I'm sorry, you know, or no, that didn't happen, no, that didn't happen. Yes, it did happen, and I don't appreciate it because she deserves it. She's worked hard here in Evanston and been through the school system and lived here and raised all their kids here. And to have been slighted once again by this reparations is really horrible to me, because it feels like we as a people are still stepping on each other to get to where we want to be individually. And it does not make any sense. How can we call ourselves together on the reparations when we're still backsliding, backbiting, and kicking and fighting for our own selves, not for all of us collectively? Also, I want to say, I'm not quite understanding this, once you get the money for the reparations, how the city is still, has their hands in what you do with it and how you spend it. Because reparations means you give me a check and I spend it the way I want to, for the damage that was done to me. Not have you dictate to me my reparations money. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I really have to say. I really would like this to be rectified where my mother can receive her reparations, not me.
Thank you for that feedback. And I'll start with the last point first. We did expand the program to include cash as an option for your reparations. And I know that at least half, I believe, of those that have received the reparations did take a cash check of $25,000. So that is some updated information that maybe you weren't aware of.
Well, I was aware of, you know, from the hearsay, but I'm still seeing and hearing that the city or the committee is putting in place certain things for when you do get the cash. You can't spend it how you want to. You have to spend it on certain things.
Well, what I would recommend, and you're a lifetime Evans, long-time Evanstonian, not lifetime, just based on your eligibility, right? Why don't you speak to someone who has taken a check as a form of reparations and learn what their experience was?
Okay.
64, thank you, honey. 64 people.
Okay. Can I just say one thing? In the beginning, I was told that there were 500 people that, from Evanston, that signed up for the reparations. 640. That time to now, when I asked about reparations and are they finished with the ancestors, oh no, we got X amount of, you know, people left, and now we're at 400 descendants. So how did we only had 100 ancestors? So it's not 139. Okay, so to me, it's, you guys are not really being very transparent about this whole thing, and it just doesn't feel right. And I would like my mother to get the reparations, not me. I would like that to be rectified because that was wrong of the person who served me to sign up for reparations, I was told.
I just want to say that there has been so much information about reparations throughout Evanston that has been misinformation. And one of the reasons that I wanted to be a part of this committee was because I felt it was so important to be transparent and to make sure that the information was available to everyone. So there is a lot of information. The question is, if you have access to it, and, you know, everything is online, of course, and not that everybody is as comfortable with that, but the numbers that you see are the numbers we have now, because we did lose some ancestors. So we were not able to grant the award to everyone who initially was accepted into the program. So it is an ongoing process, as you all know, that has never been done before, and we are learning as we go. And we may not have done everything exactly right, but we are trying to do that. So we want to honor you and your mother. And as far as what has already happened, I really can't speak to that, how you were, you know, she wasn't able to apply.
Well, I feel like I was really just, you know, mistreated
And we apologize for that. I mean, that's,
apology is not helping the situation.
exactly, and that's what I'm saying, there is really not.
Will.
And we can't make that decision as a committee.
So who
That's
does
just,
make that decision?
Just for
That's
anyone,
not fair again for another black person.
just if anyone rightfully having concerns based on this feedback, I don't know if you took your mother to Fleetwood or to the library, or if you did the application yourself, but I do want to let the community know that there was great care taken in having a community member, library staff support the process, and I'm not sure of those circumstances, so I would ask that you meet offline with Tashik and I so that we can learn more. But there's no way a ID, we had folks that had really nothing, that the library did a lot of research so that they could get them qualified and eligible, so,
I went to Fleetwood, and that's where I was told at Fleetwood,
okay.
when I went to sign my mother up, because she's not able to get out. But I went to sign her up, and I told her this, I'm sorry, my mom, well, you need an ID. That's what I was told there. So I had no choice but to put myself on there in hopes that my mother would still be living to receive it. But
Okay,
I think it's wrong that I was told that, and other people weren't told that. I don't know how many others may have been told that.
yeah,
But I'm standing on my square where my mother is concerned because she deserves it.
okay, thank you, and we will follow up on your specific situation.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Of course. And then we have, that's all that we have in person. Do we have an online? Perfect. So we're gonna have the committee work through the online. Some of them are just comments and some are questions.
okay, Mr. Bennett Johnson, is he here online? Oh, he just wanted to say, talk about the Freedom Plan? Okay, and we're not prepared to talk about that today. Okay. Marquetta Scott wanted to know, when will the process begin for direct descendants? Well, we just took a survey of all the direct descendants, and we're going to be talking about that later in this meeting. Tracy Powell, are you going to consider not only people that brought homes, but also people that could only rent in certain areas in Evanston? Because they can use the cash benefit, okay? Sherelle Johnson said she missed the deadline for the descendant survey. Will it be extended? How many participants did we have?
We got
We have enough? Okay, so then that would not be extended.
But explain what the survey is.
Yeah, so it's actually,
It's on the agenda.
So, like, people may not know the survey is, and they think, sorry, no.
Okay. Tracy Jones Rich said this is her first meeting. Welcome, Tracy. Joanna Welch, how soon will the disbursements be ready for the next group of recipients? That is to be determined. Noelle Cole also is asking, how soon will descendants start receiving their benefits? Rose Goggins lost her mom in May. Sorry to hear that. Where does she need to submit a claim for her award? Maybe she had the beneficiary form. She should call Tashik. Okay. Barbara Wright asked about applications reopening. And her comment is the logistics and communication during COVID were not fair. But at this time, we do not have any plans for reopening applications. Jessie Johnson wanted to just know where she is on the list. But we don't really have a numbers list yet of this direct descendants. We just have a lot of them. Carly Butler says she has no questions or comments. Powell Brandon asked when is the next sign up and do they have plans for people out of state? And I did already say that we do not have plans for reopening applications at this time. And then, Brian Shepard wanted to know what makes you a candidate for reparations. Baxter Swiley says just thank you, which is nice. Demetrius Griffin, I would like to know if you are dispersing funds according to the recipient's numbers and wants to know what their number is. Again, we don't have any numbers yet for that. Geneva Wade has said, good morning. Are the funds for Northwestern's Ryan Field project being recouped by the Reparations Initiative? Not one thing has to do with the other, or I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. Diane Martin Log, it looks, wants to know when the drawing will be for picking the next numbers for the direct descendants. That is to be determined. Jim Milano says that he's presenting for.
That's city staff.
Oh, okay. And then Kira Mullins. Do you see a lack of a quorum as an issue? We have a quorum. Oh, it's when I came. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's it. I have one.
So just, and Donna, if they want to come up and have comment.
Good morning. I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to say thank you to First Repair and all of the people that volunteer for the Evanston Reparations, and I believe that you guys are all doing a wonderful job. And that's all.
I'd like to say thank you as a founder and executive director of First Repair, but First Repair doesn't do any City of Evanston work. The Reparations Committee does the work, so, and the staff. Thank you so much, though. Let's go ahead and move into our agenda where a lot of the questions and comments will be answered in the testing. Okay, here we go. So we will go back with now having a quorum. We have item 2 on the agenda, approval of the meeting minutes A, B, and C. That's going to be meeting minutes from July 6th, August 3rd, and October 5th, 2023. Is
I
there?
move for the approval of July 6th, August 3rd, and October 5th minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion passes. Roll call vote. All in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Great. So we're going to move on to 5C. Really excited about this. And so, as you know, we have many, even with cash being an option, many are choosing to invest and build wealth through home equity and using home repair as a way to do so. You have the option to use $25,000 direct benefit in that way. And we, a dedicated person, and we were fortunate enough to get a grant from the Chicago Community Trust for $100,000 so that we could have a dedicated person. Not only did the hiring committee, which included members of the city council and staff, find a qualified construction manager, administrator, but also a son of Evanston that has a long time history with Evanston and the families in Evanston, and is very skilled in his work. So, Mr. Mike Dykes, will you please introduce yourself to the community, and congratulations on your new role. I present to you our program construction admin, Mr. Mike Dykes.
Hi, my name is Michael Dykes, and I am, as you said, the Reparations Program Construction Administrator. My function is to help make sure that the recipients that choose the home improvement, that they get the best bang for their buck. I am kind of like the Rosetta Stone between that customer and the contractor that does the work, to make sure that that contractor doesn't come in here knowing what your purse looks like and say you have $25,000, so everything is gonna cost 25 grand, no matter what it is, how big or how small, to try to make sure that goes the best way that it can. I've been a general contractor for about 30 years. I'm born in Evanston. I am a descendant of a reparations participant, and I've been here forever. Lived right down the street, 32 years, right down the street. I'm a landlord. I've been a construction, I've been a home renovator for those 30 years, so I've worked on numerous homes, so I kind of have an idea and my finger on the pulse of what's going on and what has to happen. So when we come in, I submit for the bids, and then when they come in, I know if the bid is way out of line or whatever it is, I can help them sharpen the pencil and work on your behalf to make sure that your money goes as far as it can. And that is the benefit of this. And for me, this is a mission-based bullseye project because it helps me keep somebody that looks like me hold on to something that I think is going to be valuable for their building blocks for long-term financial success for them and their family. To date, I have, so where I picked up at is programs been going on for a little while, and with some success, and some bumps in the road, so I'm trying to hope to eliminate a little bit of those bumps. So there are 5 that I am co-partnering with Sequel, who was here before, that I'm picking up. They already have like parts ordered or things ordered, windows and things ordered, so they're coming. The things that I have to push this spring because winter's caught us now. But I'm going to jump in with them, so we'll kind of do those things together. I have 13 people that are on my list, of which I went to do a home visit on 3 or 4 of them already. And I got scheduled things, and unfortunately, we have had 1 or 2 people that passed away, so I have to deal with, they're dependent to see how, or if they're going to have, what they're going to do, if they're going to still want their house work done, or they're going to change what they have to do. So I'm hitting the ground running and doing all I can. So if any guys, if I fall into your purview, you need me, I'm easy to find. Just reach out.
Do you have anybody working with you, or are you the only one that's seeing them?
Well, in this case, I'm just a project manager. I don't actually do the work. I just come in to make sure it's there. So, no, right now there's only 13 people, and I can do 13 people very easily. It's because what I'm doing. I'm coming to the recipient's house. They say they want something done, so I come in and I kind of walk through their house with them, and we will focus primarily on safety issues to make sure everything is good, their roof is good, their house not leaking, it's not going to blow down, and then we start to go in. And then I kind of give them suggestions on what to do, but it is 100% their money. If I say they need a roof and they say, nope, I want a new refrigerator and a new stove, I kind of have to say, okay, we'll get you a new refrigerator and a new stove, because it is 100% their money. I don't know how it was done in the past, but I know that my plan is to be the advocate for the homeowner or the recipient, because that's the one who's in the grocery store. That's what I'm going to run into, and they say, hey, you messed up my house, or you did a great job by whichever way. And for me, my reputation being to hold my head up high is a whole lot more important than if, the city is happy with me or if that contractor's happy. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a list of contractors that you prefer to work with, or who would be dedicated to this process, or is it kind of just based on bid?
It's a combination of both, because I know that, you know, in the world, we're supposed to get 3 competent bids, but my focus will be on evaluating the bids and the competency of who I feel or what's gonna go with, you're gonna see this same person in the grocery store. In the past, we've had contractors that have been from here and there, and it may have been bid related, but what I wanna do is I wanna bring in some contractors that are here that have been, I know guys have been doing this for as long as I've been doing it, but they've never come to the city to get licensed. And so I want to walk some of those guys through to say, hey, it's not that hard to do it, let's go here and get licensed, get yourself together so you can be in this list, because it's going to be your aunt, your cousin, your neighbor that needs this, and why not you? And for me, the double benefit of that is, if I can get someone that's from around here hiring, then he can hire someone from around here. And then that's really what's going to create long-term success for our community, is when these guys can hire my sons or my nephews or my cousins or the community's youth, that they can get in there, and we can actually, down the road, these kids will have to learn to do something and be able to help my son when he does it, because my sons don't want to do anything at all with any of this. They don't mind writing a check. They don't want to do anything with a hammer at all, but they're going to have to pay somebody, and I want them to be able to pay somebody that's going to turn around and maybe marry their daughter or whatever has to happen down the road. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so you're, you know, with the reparations and helping us all with that part of it. Say I want to do some upgrading in my mom's house and pay for it myself. Can I call you with it?
Of course, of course.
Get that same kind of service?
Of course you can. That's why this is so mission-based for me, because I feel like this is a job that I've been doing all my adult life for free. When someone calls me and they say, hey, Mike, it may be out of state, I've got a plumber, he's charging me, $5,000 to do this. Does that even make sense? And so this is something I'm be more than happy to take that call and make the time to come and say, okay, well, I know you're not the recipient, but you are a neighbor, and I'm still going to see you at the grocery store, and I may not be able to do your work, but let me find you somebody that can do your work. So,
at a reasonable price.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing because, again, it's more about my reputation than it's about the particular job. In my business, because I do remodel and I have a crew, but in my business, I say I make a customer, not a deal, because I don't, I mean, sometimes I might lose money because it's quality product, at a profit if I can, at a loss if I must, but always quality product.
Thank you,
So,
Mike.
okay,
Thank you. We're going to move on from that. Please see Mike after the meeting. He's available. And if you want to share your email, is it mdykes?
Yes.
mdykes@cityofelvanston.org. We're going to move on. Thank you. But do know that this is optional. It's still not required. But I will also say that 100% of the first 16, Tashik, correct me if I am wrong, 100% of the first 16 that chose home improvement as an option did select to have a construction administrator or manager. So we wanted to make sure we extended that. No, we're going to move on from this. And next we're going to go to 5A, direct descendant selection process. There's been a ton of questions about this in the community. We saw that in our questions also. Tashik, this is such a nice newsletter that you put together. If you haven't seen it, please sign up to receive the newsletters. It's just very well done. All of the questions are answered in this newsletter. I just want to share that. It's in the packet also, and you can get that online. If you sign up for emails, you'll get this directly to your email box. I want to say that of 492 direct descendants, 443 of them have been verified, and the survey results came in. Overwhelming support now that we have gotten into this process. Folks are more comfortable. We can move away from that visual lottery, and we can go to an electronic random process. I do understand that our staff here has options.
So IT is here to demonstrate how this will work.
Perfect, thank you.
Jen, can you unmute?
And I'll say that if you don't have the packet, it's 56.20% opted for an electronic random process, 24.82% for a physical tool, similar to what we used in the past, and 18% or almost 19% had other. Thank you for being here.
Jen, can you unmute and,
Good morning. And thanks for letting me be here. My name is Jim Milano. I'm with the city IT Department, Information Technology Department, and I am the Service and Delivery Manager for the city. I've been here for 30 years. Tashik reached out to me asking about creating an electronic process for randomly sorting a list of items in a spreadsheet. That's at least the way that we elected to do it. Most spreadsheet programs today, if you're not familiar, Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets have a formula for randomly generating a number, and that can be used to randomly sort the sheet. And I'm going to demonstrate real quickly. I'm going to share my screen and show you just a simple sheet that I have. I apologize here, just looking for the right one. That's the one. And I'm going to switch tabs to, I apologize. Here we go. I apologize. Not used to this form. Can everyone see the screen here?
Yes.
I can open it up a little bit more. And so what I have here is a spreadsheet with column A having a list of unique numbers. These would represent recipients. And these are roughly 500 numbers. And for illustration purposes, I put next to these numbers the original order that they're in. So 1 through roughly 500, I believe. And then this random column. And so if I put the formula in here, equals RAND, open bracket, close bracket, enter. What the sheet does is generates a random number between 0 and 1, and they extend it 10 decimal places. So basically, I'm going to let it autofill the remaining rows. And so now it's done this all the way down the sheet, and all the way down all 500 now. And keep in mind, these are 10 decimal places. So this would be like area code, prefix, phone number. If you can imagine all of the combinations there, that's a lot of numbers. I'm not a mathematician, but it's a lot of numbers. So suffice to say, it's very random. And then and this is a process I found online, is just what I'll do is I'll sort this sheet based on these random numbers. And so if I go data, sort sheet, sort by column C, which is the random numbers. And as you can see, it's now taken and skewed all of the numbers in the first row and randomly sorted them. So now they're all scrambled into a different order. What was number 1 is now someplace else. And so basically, this is the process that I demonstrated to Tashik when she asked, and I think this is a valid method. It could be used to randomly sort anything. These could be names, these could be numbers, it really wouldn't matter. All I'm asking them to do is just sort them in a random way, and that's what's done here. So anyway,
Thank you.
if there's any questions about that?
Are there any questions before I give some direction or recommend some direction? No? Okay. So with that, I would ask that we have on our next committee meeting action item to move forward. So maybe as soon as January, we could have that. We talked about it also, even though it's electronic, somehow being public. So if IT and whatever other staff appropriate could present us with a way that we can have a public meeting in January, and you do that random selection. Does that sound good? Perfect. So that's what we're requesting for on our next agenda. Are there any other questions on that? Thank you for being here, and we hope to see you at our next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next item for communication is 5E. Tashik? The Ancestor Reparation Recipient Disbursement Update, which is on pages 26 through 28 in your packet.
So as of November 1st, city staff has met with 119 ancestor recipients. 12 of those 119 have informed staff that they would like to take additional time to select their benefits. So in total, the estimate, we have distributed, well, there's some, we're still waiting on invoices from SEPA and from those who chose home improvement. But as an estimate, if you were to distribute all those dollars, we would have distributed $2,711,595.
That's excellent.
And you can see the breakdown of what the recipients select. So 64 selected cash. We have one individual who's going to purchase a house. We have 18 that have chosen mortgage assistance. They're going to reduce their mortgage balance. We have 4 that have chosen a combination of home improvement and mortgage assistance, and 29 that have chosen home improvement.
Thank you, Tashik. Is there any comment from the committee?
Hallelujah.
Yes. We are moving along. That's great news. And next we're going to have we're going to accept and place that on file. We're going to move forward. We have item 5F, our reparations financial report.
Yeah, so as of November, the city received $51,207 in donations to the reparations fund. We didn't receive any additional amounts. This was the same as October. And as for the real estate transfer tax, we have received $2.9 million, $2,934,993 in real estate tax revenue. And again, we can't share the amount that we have received from the municipal cannabis retailers tax until we have 5 adult cannabis dispensary stores in Evanston. But we are receiving that revenue as well. But it's a state statute.
Thank you. No. We're gonna move on. Yeah, we'll finish the agenda. And then we have 5G, or actually, I'm sorry, G. So our next committee meeting will be at Fleetwood Jordan Community Center, and there we will take action on the selection process and date for our direct descendants. And then next we have 5H, upcoming meetings, and if our working group chairs can give any reports and also announce your meetings.
Unfortunately, we did not meet in October, but we will be meeting on November 16th, the Housing Committee at 6 o'clock.
Good morning. So I'm a part of the Educational Initiative Working Group, and we did have an October meeting where we had a presentation. We're reaching out to Dino Robinson to see if he can come November 7th and present to the working group about historical facts that we have of discrimination in Evanston. We know, but we're looking for those tangible tidbits. And then in December, we will be moving forward on recommendations on how do we approach different institutions. When do we decide that maybe isn't an institutional problem, but that parents need support at home. Parents need tutoring help to understand the new math, right? I'm glad I don't have kids. The new math is too new. So it's not just educational institutions, but how do we support a family to make sure the family has all of the needs that they need to be successful in these institutions. So thank you.
Any other comments from the committee before we adjourn?
I would just like to send a special shout out to Sheik. She's done a lot of hard work in making this work. And when I pick up the phone and say I need this or this doesn't make sense, we work through it together. And she's always asking questions and looking for input. So very rarely do you find that. Very rarely is that acknowledged. And I just want to go on record. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tashik, as always. And with that, we have no further business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move for the adjournment of the, November 2nd reparations meeting.
Okay, so moved, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, and we will see you all on December 7th.